Hello and welcome to ARK Survival Evolved. We're on the Extinction map, and today we're going to be looking into what sort of loot we can get out of these Gachas. We've got 3 from a previous episode and I've got them scattered around, and I've also brought the snow owls over because as far as I'm aware you can actually get better loot quality from these Gachas when you've got snow owl pellets. So I brought quite a lot along with me that I'd picked up while I was breeding all these snow owls, but obviously I'm probably going to need quite a lot of them as I carry out my experiments to see what sort of loot we can get. So just before I start though, I mean, if at any time you find yourself liking the video, then do remember to click the like button, as that'll help me out a great deal. If you've got any comments or suggestions, and do please post those, as they'd be greatly appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, then do subscribe and remember to click on the little bell icon, as then you'll get notifications of when new content comes out. So anyway, in a previous episode we've tamed up 3 of these Gachas, and I've separated them out because as far as I'm aware there aren't known issues when you've got more than one of them together, or at least if you've got more than 2 of them. I mean, if you put them together, they'll be mate boosted. Now that'll help, but from what I can understand, these things are solitary creatures. So this one's Gavin. He's the highest level one I've got, and most of the leveling I did for him, I've just been leveling up his crafting skill. There's 2 females that I've got scattered over there. I left them out near what was originally stone outcroppings, because by default they don't do any harvesting, but if you enable that feature, they'll start harvesting the things like stone around them. From what I understand, they'll harvest like fibre. They're very good at harvesting fibre. Give them a left click while you're riding them, and they'll harvest quite a lot of fibre actually. They'll harvest stone and flint. They don't do metal though, so if you take them near a metal node, you'll just get like the stone and what have you. So it's best to leave them near stone basically, because otherwise you just waste the metal. They'll harvest wood and thatch as well. Just keep checking to see if anybody's dropped anything. I mean, this is not too bad of an area. It's a bit quiet. The only thing I've found around here are things like there's some Therazinos and Carnos, and the odd 1 or 2 raptors showed up now and again, but it is fairly quiet. But whenever I go away, I've got like a parasaur, Polly the parasaur over there. I tamed her up. I ended up having to basically knock her out while I was around. I mean, I had a lot of problems. I couldn't use like boulders to bring her down. For some strange reason, there's areas of the map where they just don't work. I've had problems in the wasteland, I've had problems in the desert biome, and I've had problems in here where they just disintegrate. So I think what I did with this one, I think I actually picked it up with the Argentavis. I can't remember, because I certainly couldn't boulder it. So that was a bit frustrating. But anyway, getting back to the Gachas. What you can do is, I mean, their preferred kibble is actually the snow owl pellets. Now this particular one here, he hasn't got anything to eat in terms of stone, but he's feeding off the trough, and the only thing I've got in the trough is berries. This Fiomi here isn't really helping, but never mind. So yeah, I've got a trough over here, and all I've got in there is berries, and that seems to be keeping these Gachas going. So they've got no resources as such to convert. So what I want to try is, I want to give this one some actual pellets. So I'm going to give it some snow owl pellets, and I want to see if he does anything with them. Because I'm not quite sure at this stage whether he'll actually process those pellets and convert them into crystals, or whether he'll actually use these with maybe like stone or metal. Because I say his preferred food. Ah, so something's off now here. So something's happening. So, alright, so we're down to 3 already. Oh, okay, so he has eaten that. Because I wasn't quite sure if you needed that as a kind of a supplement. Because what happens is when they've got resources like stone, flint, metal and so on, they'll process those depending on what you've asked for. So like Gavin, he's set to process things into oil. You've got an option to process into anything, but for me I could really do with some oil, so I've got him doing that. Each of these gachas, they'll produce different things, but what I wasn't quite sure, as I say, is whether that pellet that you give them is something they'll convert into a crystal, or whether they use it to sort of like augment the actual resource that's in their inventory. So like maybe for instance if I give them stone and some of these pellets, he'll process those. I'm not 100% sure yet, because I haven't gone in detail when going through the wiki. I just wanted to try to get a better understanding of their mechanic basically. That's what I wanted to do, to find out how to tame them. Other than that I didn't go much further, because I quite find it to be quite interesting to find out for myself how they behave. So I mean normally you give them resources, and I say their preferred food was the pellets. Then you're into things like, I think it was element, metal, stone, flint and so on. And they will process these like resources into crystals. I think if you give them stuff like stone and flint and what have you, you usually get like a normal crystal. But I've seen out in the wild there were some ramshackle ones. I'm just trying to remember what I got. I think I got some war drums, and I think there was a blueprint. Oh, Stroop. Yeah, getting aggravated by... This is not good. I'm getting aggravated by a Trudon. I spent ages lining these things up. Why did you have to do that to me? Oh, that's frustrating. So there's something else you're going to have to put up with in this place. There's Trudons. So yeah, that's something else I got. Yeah, I thought I'd got a blueprint for these boots. But I got the war drums and I got the boots. But I'll just go and pick that egg up. But yeah, out in the wild I saw 2 ramshackle ones, and that's what they gave me. There was the war drums and the riot boots. Now with Gavin here, at one point he had some stone on him, and what I did is I gave him some snow owl pellets, and he actually spit out a... Well, I say spit out, he popped out a crystal which was a journeyman crystal. Now the thing that puzzles me at the moment is nothing's really happening at the moment, so I know he's eaten one of those pellets. Now I'm wondering if he actually needs proper resources to actually then do something. Maybe that's just giving him a buff of some sort. So tell you what, I'm gonna go over to this one over here, because Grace over here, she was standing by a lot of rock. Yeah, she's used it all up already. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna get myself some rock. Just mine one of these, and then I'll see what happens when I give Gavin some stone here. So normally you see these sort of crystals getting popped out. So they're normally the resources that whatever you've got them to do. So Gail here, she's set to produce the black pearls, and each one will produce different things. They've got their own little speciality as to what they'll make. I'm beginning to wonder now if they do actually need resources, which they'll then convert into a crystal, and that pellet is just simply a kind of a buff for them. Trouble is, I don't know what's happened to the saddle. I had a saddle on one of these, and none of them have got it. So I've no idea what became of their saddle. Here's some stone for you. So let's see if he'll... Right, so he's sat back down now. So I presume he's going to start eating that there you go. So you can see like this little green glow on his back. So that's just a normal one. So it looks like that buff's gone away. Yeah, it looks like that. So that's where I'm beginning to get the impression it's there's like all those pellets do is give him a bit of a buff. Now whether that gives you a certain percentage chance of then getting a better crystal or not, we'll see. So there you go. So we should now be down to just one pellet then, or not? Okay. Now that's odd. Maybe it lasts for a certain amount of time. If I had the saddle, I might be able to tell if he's got some sort of buff on him then. Because normally they just sit down. You don't see those weird little colours going around. Usually when he's ready to pop a crystal, you'll see a crystal grow on his back, and then you'll have a little green glow around him. So, so he must have eaten that once, because we're now down to one. How much stone have you got? So he's eaten all of the stone. Let me go and get some more stone. Wasn't quite sure if he'd popped that yet. The next thing to try is metal. Because metal's better than stone, but there's these things they don't gather metal. I'd have to bring an ankylo down here to get better metal resources than I'm pulling at the moment. Oh. So let's see what happens. So now we're still getting a normal one, it seems. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Right, what have you got on you? Right, I'm going to take these off him. So I'm going to go and get Gale from over there. Then I'm going to pair the two of them up. Because I think they're alright if there's two of them together, if they're made boosted. I think that's okay. It's if you've got more than two that you start having problems. So it's just they're not behaving in the way that I'd read. Is this thing just sitting down? Sometimes it's quite funny at times. They just sit down and do nothing. It's like, are you gonna move or what? Yeah, because sometimes I'll move away and they'll just be like sitting there doing nothing. I should really get a saddle. Tell you what, you come here. Right, so those two are now made boosted. I wonder if she's stuck. Alright, she was stuck on the stone. Never mind. So she's obviously gone and harvested that stone, which is a good thing. Right, so what I'll do is I'll take these off her. So this time round, he's made boosted. So I'll give him some stone, I'll give him some flint. So on about 80, 55, 49. So now I've got the little multicoloured glow going on around. Looks like there's two crystals he's got on his back. Where did that pop? So it's still a normal one. I mean, I don't think it guarantees you anything. I think it's just like a chance thing, and possibly depends on his a great deal on his crafting skill as well. But I mean, so far, I mean, I did manage to get one journeyman crystal out of them. So I can see up the top there, there's one, it's like a green one that's glowing. Usually when you get like a little green glow, it means he's going to pop a crystal. Still just getting normal ones at the moment. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go and get Ozzy because there's some metal around here. And I'm going to get myself some metal and I'm going to see if that gives me something better. I mean, I know you can sort of like provide better crystals, but I don't know if it's just like a chance thing or what. I'd assume so. I assume there's like some probability of getting certain quality. I mean, I don't have anything special done for the actual. Actually, I don't know if Ozzy be able to carry all this, to be honest. I mean, I'm on like the default settings. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just on the default settings for loot quality. As I say, the best I've gotten so far was a journeyman one. Right, I'll just stop here. So right, see what he's dropped anything. Oh, he's dropped a normal one. Okay, so what you got? So I'll give you two of them. I'll give you some metal. That's interesting. Couldn't transfer that for some reason. Aha! There you go. So there's a journeyman one. So what do we get out of this one? These are just normal ones. They'll just be resources, probably all oil. So that's giving me Mastercraft Riot chest piece. So we're on. So he's consumed about 40 metal. Hang on a minute. Right, he's got two of them. Just trying to see if he's still paying attention to me, because as I say, they're supposed to be solitary. If they're ever sad, they won't look at you. Or so I've read anyway. I can't really tell with Gale because she's stuck in the bushes. Let's see what we get out of this one. I mean, it's got to be a chance thing, to be honest. I don't think I wouldn't have thought it would guarantee you like a high quality, but it makes me wonder how high you can get, because I mean that's two journeyman ones he's given me. And I don't think there's anything higher than element, because he didn't seem to be doing anything with that when I only gave him the pellets. He still needed a resource to actually convert. So I suspect the next one up would probably have to be done by giving him element. So he's got a green glow around him, so at some point he's got to have to pop. Yeah, sometime that's got to pop. He's out of resources now. We'll get him some more resources then. Well, I'm just curious if that's going to suddenly pop at some point. Because the trouble is, they don't last long. I've got a very short time on them. I don't know if I've got any more. Did I pick up any more metal? No. Go and dump these. I'll go and dump all these resources, and then I'll go back up to that ledge and get some more resources. I mean that's not too bad, to be honest, getting those. I mean, I've already got like ascending ones off them. that was the first journeyman he popped, was an Ascendant piece of armor. I mean, what's this one? It's I have to put it in the books, but I think that was pretty high armor. I mean, if you can get a full set of Ascendant armor off these things, it would be brilliant. Right, we're going to mine up some more metal. I mean, Aussie here is not really geared up for carrying a lot of weight. But I'll grab as much metal as I can, because I've got the impression he used up 40, maybe he's using up like 80 or something, I don't know. Let's go and give him this and see what he does with this metal. Because you can give him all sorts of things, I mean metal, stone, flint and so on. But I get the impression the best I can give him at the moment is metal. Now that looks like a normal one to me, because it doesn't have the glow around it. So yes, I don't think it guarantees anything by giving him the snow owl pellets. See what he does this time. I think it just increases the chances of him giving her a higher quality loot. So normally it seems obviously they'll now there you go. Now that looks something much higher. That's a Mastercraft one. It's about like quarter of an hour to pick it up then. Ascendant Chitin. Interesting that. That's odd that, because it's... I would have thought, I mean, the riot gears, you need to be higher level to be doing riot gear. I mean, riot gear is level 98, whereas the Chitin's quite low in comparison, it's only 37. So I would have thought a Mastercraft one surely would have popped out something better than the riot gear, to be honest. What did you just pop there? Right, so he's just popped a normal one. So yeah, so it doesn't guarantee you anything, basically. It obviously just increases the chances, which I suppose is understandable. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think the best thing to do is to try and get an anglo. I haven't seen any in my travels. But I could probably do with an ankle because then I can mine the metal a lot faster. Is he out of metal? No, he's still on about 105. I mean, I'm just going to have to go around mining metal. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to go around mining metal and keep feeding him, and then see what sort of things I get. Okay, so I've been at this quite a while now, and the owls, they're just not producing enough pellets for me for Gavin here to keep up. So he's run out of pellets now, and there's no more around. So he's starting to just produce what looks to be normal crystals. There's no buff around them or anything. So I think it's about as far as I can get. So now he decided to start dropping them. I think the best bet really is to gather up lots and lots of these pellets, as much as you possibly can, and then you can get a bit of a run going, because once it runs out of pellets, that buff obviously ends. So in terms of what we've found then, it's a bit hit and miss, I'm finding. So going by this, I've got quite a lot of these normal ones up here, but going by these ones here, we've got roughly about a gap of about 12 between these two journeyman crystals. What I did then is I stopped getting metal for him, and I started feeding him stone. And then I started dumping the crystals on this one. So there's about 11. We've got about a gap of 11 then we get a mastercraft one, then you've got a gap of about 4, then you get an apprentice one. So it's pretty much hit and miss. I mean, I don't think I had a quick check of the wiki to try to see if I could get my head around it, but it doesn't seem to. They don't seem to say that there's a specific type of resource that you've got to give them. The loot quality, like the crafting skill that they've got down here, influences the speed and the quality of his crafting. So he's obviously the idea is to boost that as much as you can. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to breed these two together to see if I can get one that's got a better crafting skill on it. He's got the highest crafting skill out of all of them. But I'm going to see if I can breed two together and see if I get a better crafting skill. But I didn't see anything specifically in the wiki that said that feeding them, you know, this particular resource increases the loot quality. It's just the buff. The buff they get is from the snow owl pellet. That boosts the quality of the item that he produces, as well as his crafting speed. I mean, he's been tearing through like stone and metal. He just flies through the stuff. The snow owl pellets were going down really quick. I mean, I've got 5 of these snow owls here, and it was getting to the point where he just literally ran out. He just burned through all of them. I mean, I had quite a lot when I came here. Somebody just spit one out. Oh, it could have been the moss chocks over there. Yeah, I think there's one time this one's like regurgitated a pellet, and I'm sure it disappeared under the world. But anyway, I mean, I'm going to have a look and see what sort of ones I've got. So I've got 2 journeyman ones. Now they were produced when he was eating metal, and nothing but metal. Then I've got a mastercraft one and an apprentice one. So at the moment he's just eating nothing but stone. I mean, what I've been doing is I think that's Grace over there. Yeah, she's been helping me a bit because I've been taking her near the stone nodes, just leaving her there, and she's been automatically gathering stone, and then I've just been able to bring it back to Gavin here. But from what I've read, you don't want 3 of them. If you've got 2 of the same gender next to each other, they become sad and they'll stop producing crystals. So it's okay if you've got them. It's okay if you've got like a mate boosted pair, but you don't want 2 of the same gender within like 12 foundations of each other. And each one produces different materials, different resources. But I definitely want to try and breed them and see if what happens to the crafting skill. So anyway, so I've got 1 journeyman, which has given me some more riot gear. Ascendant flak. Ooh. Mastercraft. Now that's odd that's what I got the last time with some Mastercraft. I'm really puzzled over that. Because I would have thought that would have given me something better. And then an apprentice. Apprentice has given me Mastercraft riot gear. So far these better quality ones, they're either giving me structures or armor. And I think the next thing to do is to breed those 2 together, and I'll see if I can get a better crafting skill out of the baby. Well, this is certainly interesting. I've been breeding up some little babies here from these 2 Gachas. I've been renaming them just so I know exactly what they produce. So Galia, she'll make silica pearls. Gavin, he makes oil. Got, which one's that? Is that Grace? I think it is. Yeah, Grace. She produces black pearls. And I've been breeding up quite a few, but some of the ones I've getting, they didn't really actually make much, to be honest. So Well, I say much, they didn't produce anything that was particularly useful, I found. I mean, you can get some of them to make various fragments, like the blue ones, the green ones, the red ones, and so on. But I quite like this one. Gwen over there, she'll make obsidian. Then I've got Gertie here, she'll make congealed gas. But this one's interesting here. Gretel makes metal. What's she on? I think she's just pretty much matured up. I'm a bit miffed. I thought they might have tweaked the game a bit. But although I've been imprinting some of these, there's not really much point, to be honest. The crafting skill just stays at whatever it is. So I think this, I can't remember, I think this one might have come out at 130. I know there was definitely a one that came out with a 130 crafting skill. But it was really interesting. Oh, there. Oh, he's just dropped a, I think he's just dropped a ramshackle one. So what's that one? Oh, an apprentice torch. Just what I need. Well, that's quite useful. I mean, I suppose if you can breed up quite a few different ones to produce the sort of resources that you need, because it's quite interesting. You can get, I mean, what I'm doing, for instance, with Gretel over there, I've been out and about with Gavin over here. So I've got his crafting skill is now up to, it's about up to 156, so now up to 157. So I've just basically been taking him around the area, and we've been harvesting, so that way I can level him up and get more so like crafting skill into him. So he's been picking up tons and tons of stone and fibre and flint and wood and thatch. So I mean, he's got tons and tons of stone, so I've just left it in the trough, because it's interesting actually. The babies, when they were born, I was feeding them berries, because what I'd found was if I've got berries in that trough over there, these adult ones will eat them, because they were never running out of, you know, food or anything. And I'd never put stone into the trough. I was just putting things like meat and berries in, as I'd normally do. I mean, there's nothing out here that's eating like chitin, for instance, so I was just putting food, and I was just putting berries and meat in. But the babies were quite interesting, because the food level was plummeting quite low. I mean, they were taking the berries and they were eating them, but they weren't getting that much return. So the food level just kept going down and down and down. So I gave them some stone, and I gobbled that up really quickly, and the food levels started to go back up again. So since then I've started putting stone into the trough. I mean, yes, plus trough that I've got here, it's at a good enough, it's got a good enough range here. What I've done with Gail here, I've just dumped a load of the fibre that onto her that Gavin had picked up. Oh, we won't get that one because that'll have metal in it. So that'll be a one from Gretel. It's nice how they're all labelled there, so you know who dropped, you know who it was dropped by. The only drawback is once you pick it up, I've no idea. That is the downside. So that crafting skill that's on them, it does have some impact on the actual the loot quality you get, for instance, and also I think the actual amount for normal resources. It does have an impact on that, so you really want a high crafting skill. So as far as I can tell, the only way to do that would be to get high level ones, and then you can boost the crafting skill basically by just taking them out, gathering resources, and then you can level them and then use their increased levels to improve that crafting skill. I mean, passively it's going up slightly slowly like. Now the interesting thing I've found is I've actually got Gavin over there. He's actually sitting in front of the owls, because I was looking on the wiki and it said that they pick up they'll pick up dino poop, but they won't actually consume it. But if you sit them in front of the actual snowy owls here, it will actually pick up the snow owl pellets. So technically, what you could do is you could get a couple of them and just sit them in front of the snow owls. It just really comes down to how quickly these snow owls are going to produce owl pellets. And I'm assuming he's going to pick these things up pretty much as soon as he sees them. Going by the taming that he went through, he was just like, I mean, it's like a dustbin. He was just consuming things, I mean, on the fly. I mean, I was struggling to keep up with him until I was just dropping things one at a time, and I was really struggling to keep up with them. But then, once I realised you could use stacks, it became a bit easier, because they don't actually eat everything from the stack. They'll take a certain amount from the stack, consume that, and then they'll pick some more up from the stack until obviously the stack's depleted, and then they'll move on to whatever else you've dropped. So I mean, it's quite interesting, because I mean, I thought the timer on these was a lot longer, but I think it's about 15 minutes or something. I'm not too fussed with this at the moment because I've got quite enough oil anyway. So it'll be tempting to. So it'd be quite tempting to go out looking for more higher level ones, and basically try and get as high a crafting skill as I can get. Or I suppose at some point you probably you could go for mutations. Maybe a mutated one might have a higher crafting skill, because the imprinting has done diddly squat for me. I mean, I've had one that it started off with 130, and I've imprinted it and it still had 130. I mean, what was this one come out at? I think she must be on a quite a low one, 110 maybe or something. It doesn't go up that much, I'm finding. 119. See what this one's got. I think this one came out at 130. Yeah, I think this was the 130. So, but it's quite useful. Obviously, I think it pays to probably. You can either go out there and tame quite a few until you get the type you want. So as I say, I mean, Gwen here, she'll do green gems, salt, silk, clay. But I mean, you could, I suppose, because you're going around gathering things like stone, and you'll end up with like stone and flint. You could do what I'm doing. You could use the flint to then say, get one of them to produce. Well, that one over there, Gretel over there, I'm giving her flint and she's producing metal for me. But you could get one that produces stone. Feed that a load of flint or fibre, for instance, and produce stone. So it's you'll have some of them making the actual materials that you do want, and some of them will be producing the resources that the others can feed on. But I quite like this idea here of having them sitting in front of the actual snowy owl, and it just picks up. It automatically picks up the. See there. It suddenly just regurgitated an owl pellet, and he's picked it straight up. So that makes my life a bit easier, because it's like a nice little self-contained system going on there. I mean, I've got quite a bit, so I think I'm going to gather more of these, because what I want to do is I want to go back out and try again with a higher level one if I can find one. Trouble is, you've got to clear them out. If they're low level, you've got to clear low level ones out to get bigger levels. So I think I might bring the Velonosaur, at least one maybe two Velonosaurs down here. That way I can clear the place out quite quicker. But it's interesting. You can tell when they've got a buff. So you've got that buff there, which is a. Ah, there you go. What's that one? A primitive one. Okay, so what's that one got in it? Well, that's not bad. Ramshackle assault rifle. I'm not going to complain. I mean, he's just eating. I mean, he's got options. He's got stone, flint, wood, thatch. He's got all sorts of things he can eat. So he's just gonna sit here picking things up. I mean, I went back to base because I've I've made a saddle, so at least I can take him out and level him up, because that seems to be the best way to get the crafting skill up. Although it's best to start with a high level in the first place. But it's interesting, like as I say, you can tell there's a buff because you've got that nice those little glowy lights there, and you can tell when there's a crystal on its way because you've got that green glow around the crystal up the top there. You can see a green glow around that. But I was saying before that the oh, hang on. Oh, what's that? An apprentice one? Not bad. Journeyman pistol. So you can tell when they've got the buff when they've eaten that snow owl pellet. But I was saying before that they actually get sad. Now I don't know if it's maybe. I mean, I'm on like the patch that I'm on is I think it's 287102. So it's about the. I think it's the second patch that came out since it was released. Now these. I don't know, there's something weird going on, I'm finding. Because they're supposed to be sad. If you've got two of them of the same gender, that's too close to each other, they get sad. Otherwise, if they're not sad, then they'll not look at you. Now, for some reason, this thing is not looking at me at all. If they don't look at you, or if they're sad, I should say, then they won't produce any crystals for you. But one thing I have noticed, so I'll just bring this one over next to Gwen. When they're sad, they're supposed to look away. Now I'm not seeing that. For me, it's not happening. It's supposed to turn its face away to say, like, you know, I'm sure that it's sad. Now neither of these two are doing anything. I mean, while they were on their own, they weren't looking at me. So I don't know what's going on here, but what I have noticed here is there's a very dull set of lights. If you compare that to what Gavin had around him, that was lots of little bright lights flickering around when he was when he'd eaten that pellet and he had a buff on him. Now on the other hand, Gwen here, she's got a very dull set of lights, if you will, very dull, and so is Gertie over here. So what I'll do is I'll bring Gertie back over to here. Now that's still there. So I'll bring her over to here. I think it's a timed buff. I think it takes a while to wear off. Or I could be wrong. I was under the impression it would take a while to wear off, but you see now it's gone now. So she's happily sitting on her own now, but she still doesn't look at me, like some of the other dinos normally do. So I think there's something. I think there is something wrong with the system, because it's not quite the visuals to like give you the clues aren't there. So all I can go by now is if they don't have this weird like dull set of flickering lights around them, then they're fine. If they've got a dull set of lights going on, then they're obviously sad. And then when they've got those bright little lights flickering around them, they've got a buff. So I think what I'll do is I'll get the saddle here off Gavin, and I'll give it to Gail. I mean, Gail's on about 131, which I mean it's not too bad. So I'll unhitch you. So in theory, that either one of these two should be able to pick up the snow owl pellets. Just get Ozzy's saddle. I'll go and move this other one around a bit, so they've got each of them have got a fair shot at it. So I'm not quite sure how long the buff lasts. I think what I might do is just out of curiosity, I think I'll give one of them I'll give one of them a pellet. If they haven't already got one, because I think Gavin's been picking them up. I don't know how quickly they are to drop. Let's have a look. Have you got any on you? No, I'll give you one now then. Just gonna get the saddle off her. Hop it onto him. Ah, so she must have just picked one up. Have you just picked one up? Yeah, you just picked one up. Oh, have you just leveled? Yeah. Yeah, a bit more crafting on you. Okay, so he's got that buff. Now, if I sit on him, I'm not seeing anything. You know, there's nothing, there's no visual clues or anything to tell me how long that buff's going to last. It's just going to last for however long it goes. And whether you get a boosted crystal. I mean, I had a look on the wiki and you're supposed to get, there's supposed to be so many uncommon ones, so many common ones, so many rare ones. I think there's a, but I'm not finding that at all. It's, I haven't found any particular pattern to it. It didn't mention anything about the type of resource that you use to get them to convert. So for now, I mean, I'm quite happy to just leave them on pretty much anything and just, you know, stone or whatever, and I'll see what I get. But realistically, I think I want to be able to find higher level ones, and I want ones that have got a decent crafting skill to begin with. Oh, that's interesting. So she picked that one up straight away. One thing that's interesting though is that I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's that the Phiomia. That's got an interesting ability where you can feed it stimberries, and it's very quick to poop. Now I've been trying it with these snow owls, and nah, don't do anything for me. It doesn't force them to produce a lot of pellets. It doesn't work, because I thought that would have been quite a useful feature if I could have gotten them to do that, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. So that's I suppose that's probably deliberate. You don't want to make it too easy to get these pellets. So I'll just get Aussies there. So I think basically, I mean, I'm quite pleased with these. I mean, they've produced some pretty good stuff. I mean, at least what I'm getting out of Gavin anyway. As long as I persevere, I should be able to get some decent armour. I mean, I was quite impressed with that riot, the riot armour. I'm getting out 2. That was the best. That was the first one he produced. Now that's got a durability of 804, 706. So 81 minus 40. So that was the first one he produced, and then he's given me these things here. So that's a pretty good one. That flak one. That's ascendant flak. I still don't get these things though, because I mean that one came from a, I think that was a journeyman crystal. And I thought that would have been better, because these ones were coming from journeyman. This one came from a mastercraft. So I still don't get why I end up with, I mean, okay, I got an ascendant item, but I got a lower level armor. I would have thought that journeyman, sorry, the mastercraft one would have given me something really good. But it's like anything else with ARK. It's just a matter of perseverance. As long as I hang around here and keep an eye on them, they're gonna produce some pretty good loot. And it's either going to be that or going out doing the orbital supply drops. If I want to do those, I think the next one to try is probably either purple or yellow. But I want to really get some decent Velonosaurs, because those ones I took out with the originals, I want to get the proper imprinted ones. I've now got a 160. out of the 162 male and 168 female, I've now got a male and a female that took the best of both, and I should now start being able to produce mutations to give me much better. Oh, what's that one? Ah, never mind. I should be able to produce much better velonosaurs, and then I can use those for things like going out to do the OSD drops, the orbital supply drops. I think that would be the better strategy. But in terms of these guys, these are good at giving you loot. But I think the reality is I'm going to have to have a lot of these snowy owl pellets, literally drop all of them in front of a high level gacha, and do it that way. And then it's just a case of perseverance. I mean, you can get 2 high level ones and breed them until you get the right type of material ones, producing the right types of materials that you want. I mean, I'm quite impressed with that one. As that one over there, that's a good one because that'll give me metal. And I haven't seen a need for congealed gas. That one's obsidian, so that'll be good for cement, cementing paste. Black pearls, silica pearls, oil. I mean, these ones I'm quite pleased with, but I suppose if I get ones that can produce, say, stone, you can use the stone as well as a resource that other ones can use. So basically just get one that does stone, feed that one maybe fibre. I mean, these things will pick up a lot of fibre. I mean, they're really good for fibre. But I've learned a lot. I must admit, I've learned quite a lot about these now in this little episode. I've really enjoyed that. They're a very interesting introduction into the dinos on ARK. Having something that can actually produce resources for you. So if you've got a base and you want to do that, you can, saves you having to go out. You can just, very often, and it's a very sort of like, I mean, how can I say, it's a very versatile dinosaur as well, because it'll harvest all sorts of things. It'll do stone, flint, thatch, wood as well. The only thing it doesn't get is the metal. So you would realistically need an ankylo, or to get a decent one of these that will produce metal for you. That's another alternative. I mean, the only thing you have to bear in mind is if you take 2 of them of the same gender, put them together, they'll be sad and they won't do anything. They'll just sit there on a hoof. So it's definitely interesting. I mean, they're easy enough to tame once you understand it. But it was a pain to learn how to do it. Definitely good fun. Definitely good fun. I really like these. So I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, then do please leave a like. If you've got any comments or suggestions, please post those in the section below, because that'll help me a lot. And if you're new to the channel, then do please subscribe. Remember to click the little bell icon as well, and that way you'll get reminders when new content comes out. So thanks very much for watching. Until the next video, bye.